I'm Derek Joyce, and I'm here with Paul Onwarda, and this is I'm Not the Expert, But. This is a podcast where we'll discuss everything from the most complex ideas that we know nothing about to the simplest ideas that we probably know nothing about either. So put the kettle on, get comfy, and join us. My favourite time of the year.
It is. I love Halloween. I love Halloween.
More than Easter, more than Christmas, more than, well, probably not more than summer when it's sunny out, but more than fucking Valentine's Day. Actually, you know what? Trips to the dentist are more interesting than Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
They mean more to me.
Totally.
Fuck that shit.
Sorry.
Sound. Halloween.
Yeah.
The Sound Festival.
Now, I'm just going to pull you on something there. I don't think I like Halloween more than Christmas, right? I do love Christmas, I have to say. But
each of its own.
I love that there's not the stress and build up to Halloween that there is to Christmas, so it's more enjoyable in that sense. But I can't wait to get home, get up to my elbows in face paint, get the kids ready. I love it. I absolutely love it. And all the kids knocking on the door and all that.
I actually am not too mad about all the commerciality.
It's what it is. I love the origins though. I do love the origins, and I love that it's Irish. I absolutely love that.
The pagan part of me just celebrates this fucking festival so much. Love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it.
I was aware of the Celtic and kind of pagan and even pre-Celtic origins of Halloween, but having a deep dive into this now for a podcast, I've really, really embraced it. It's really cool actually, yeah. So let's get into it.
Samhain was a festival celebrated by the ancient Celts halfway between the autumn equinox, which is September 22nd, 23rd, and the winter solstice, which is the 21st and 22nd. Which is probably the one I know best because of the people that gather at Newgrange.
Yeah. Now, there's a really good origin story behind why it's at that time of year, right? I'm going to go right back, right? There was a goddess called Tolchu. She was the goddess of the land, right?
Spell it.
Tolchu, Tailtu, Fada.
Does that have anything to do with the Tolkien games?
I believe it does, and I'm going to get to that now in a second. I think, I'm not 100%, but I think it ties in. Right, anyway, she was the goddess of agriculture, basically. And she introduced agriculture to Ireland. She taught us how to farm, all that stuff, right? But she was so dedicated that she worked herself to death.
Okay.
And her foster son, Lou, who, if you go back to the our podcast on the Celts, we've done a lot about Lou, but this is a fascinating thing.
L-U-G-H.
L-U-G-H or
L-U-Fada.
L-U-Fada often, yeah.
Fada is a little doodad.
Or just L-U-Fada.
Yeah.
On its own sometimes. But anyway, he was her foster son. So he created a festival in her honour when she worked herself to death, and that's where Samhain comes from, right? But I love this. Lou was the sun god. He's the god of the sun. He himself was slain by a Fomorian called Elatha. He was caught off guard.
You have to spell this shit, man.
Sorry, E-L-A-T-H-A.
Okay.
Elatha. He was caught off guard and vulnerable when getting out of the bat, right?
Okay.
And he was stabbed through with a spear, right? When he was getting out of the bat, he had one foot on a cauldron and the other on a ram.
Where the fuck did he take a bath?
There's logic, and this is what I love, Del, right? Because I mean, we were growing up and kind of doing Celtic myth in school. It was always kind of taught in school, but it was taught very much as a fairy tale, with no logic or reason behind what we were being told. But,
okay, I can't wait to hear the logic behind this.
Well, listen to me. It's actually really good, right? The cauldron is a symbol of the astrological sign of Cancer.
I thought Cancer was a crab.
The actual constellation, I believe, is the crab. But you often see Cancer represented as that kind of
right, okay.
A U shape with handles on it.
I'm not questioning that because I know fuck all about astrology.
Yeah, I'm not interested in astrology myself. I just know because I think one of them is a Cancer. Someone I know is a Cancer, and I remember buying them a thing with it. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to go there. Right, yeah, so just take it as given, right? The cauldron is a symbol of Cancer, right?
Okay.
The ram is a symbol of Capricorn. Now, I know in our astrological houses, is that what they're called? I have no idea. I have no fucking idea about astrology, and I don't want to know anything about astrology. I know the ram is traditionally associated with Aries.
Oh, yeah.
But it also has connotations for Capricorn, apparently.
Okay.
Right, so anyway, yeah, so he has 1 foot in Cancer, he has 1 foot in Capricorn.
Yeah.
So he's equidistant, if you know what I mean.
Right, okay,
Right, and he's the sun god, and he's killed.
Okay.
Right, so the whole symbology around that is the death of the sun.
Yeah.
When he's halfway between Cancer and Capricorn. So basically, the equinox.
Okay, yeah.
So that symbolises the equinox, right? Interestingly, Lu's son, Cuchulainn, the very famous Celtic warrior, is said to have been born at winter solstice, which symbolises the rebirth of the sun.
Because they start getting longer again.
Exactly, yeah. There you go.
Sense.
Yeah, because Cuchulainn then, he kind of personified Lu after Lu's death. So the sun dies at equinox and is reborn at the winter solstice.
Okay. That makes sense where astrology does not make a fucking lick of sense.
No, but the equinoxes are,
I can follow that.
Astronomical.
Yeah.
They're astronomical phenomena, I suppose.
Right, okay.
Is the word I'm looking for.
Okay.
But yeah, the astrological type of it, that was the cauldron and the ram. So yeah, so there you go. I thought that was quite interesting.
It is. So as you were saying, Samhain marked the end of the harvest season and the start of winter.
Yeah.
Spiritually, it was the time when the veil between the world of the living and the world of the dead was at its thinnest.
Yeah, and the two worlds were closest together.
Yeah, allowing people to communicate with the dead and even for the dead to walk among the living.
Yeah, and I mean, Celtic mythology is littered with stories of the heroes facing off against monstrous creatures, and they're all around that time, around that kind of Halloween, Samhain time. Halloween, do you hear me? They didn't have Halloween then.
It didn't exist then. Yeah, it wasn't.
But that whole Samhain thing, you know, and it's at that time that the monsters tend to come into the world, and
Like, it didn't exist then. It wasn't called Halloween, but they still dressed up. They still had their massive community events and bonfires.
We're going to get onto that now, aren't we? Yeah.
And people engaged in games, feasting, and the telling of stories.
Yeah, and I think that's where the Tolkien games comes into it, because it was the feast of Tolchu.
Yeah.
Which Lu set up, which then morphed into Samhain.
I don't know.
I wonder if that where the Tolkien games come from.
Yeah,
it sounds like it might, because there is a lot of games and stuff that went on during Samhain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And I read people wore masks because, as I was saying, the veil was at its thinnest. The dead walked among the living in the land of the living. People wore masks to hide themselves from evil spirits so they wouldn't be recognised.
Well, I've got an even more real-world explanation for that as well, actually.
Okay, go for it. Let's have it.
The whole festival of Samhain, basically was far more celebratory revelry than any kind of religious or sacred thing.
Yeah.
So it was basically a massive piss-up. Let's call it what it was, right? 6 or 7 days of revelry, of feasting, of having the crack, right? And law and order essentially got fucked out the window. Like, they would just go on a mad one. Like, you've got all the farm labourers and maids and all the kind of lower class workers who get paid at that time. They get paid twice a year, and that's once when they get paid is around Samhain, and they're heading home after being away working the fields for months on end. They're heading back, back to their families. So of course they're going to let loose. They've got money in their pocket. Well, I mean, relatively,
what was money? How long has it been strange?
It's not money. They're getting paid in food and drink and whatever they're getting paid in. But so they're well off. They're getting a few drinks in, and law and order's gone out the fucking window, right? It's just gone. So they would wear masks for a sense of anonymity. So they could just let loose, they could just go, just do whatever the fuck, and then the next day nobody really knows who was up to what, that way. So there's no kind of embarrassment afterwards, or there's no kind of comeback from it. There's also, I don't really want to get into this, but there's also a sexual aspect of it as well. I mean,
people weren't fucking having kids that grew out of flowers and shit. They were banging, man. They were having sex.
Yeah, but there was orgies and stuff.
It is.
So it was masks.
Like a good orgy.
Yeah. So it was masks would allow that anonymity and allow them to just let themselves go. Basically,
wasn't there a fucking Nicole Kidman?
Yeah, I was
film?
just thinking that.
Yeah.
When I was writing this last
shit?
night, Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
I have seen it, but I've never seen it. I watched that as a teenager on Fast Forward.
Never
literally, just pausing certain bits.
No interest in it.
Yeah, no, it looks garbage, to be quite honest with you. But yes, I very much got that vibe
Yeah, so it's got
from
that whole
Samhain.
all that kind of
Anomalous
shit, and what was that
orgy.
fucking I can't all those other kinds of films. But even the Victorian things where they all had those eye mask things when they went to
Masquerade
their
balls,
that that has a very pagan feel to it.
It does, yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah.
And you even have masks that were something like the plague doctor things and stuff as well, like, and all those kind of weird pagan.
Well, we explained the
animal
plague
stuff.
doctor.
No, we did,
the fucking potpourri and stop this thinking of rotten
but they
flesh
had that
and
kind
shit.
of really freaky looking kind of pagan stuff,
But yeah, there you go.
Love that. So so that's where masks. Well, I mean, it's that, and as you said, it's to hide from the evil spirits.
Yeah, well, it wasn't even so. It was just
the evil spirits to look like an evil,
and so they wouldn't be recognised.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like if for whatever reason there's somebody
coming over,
if there's somebody in the land of the dead that is annoyed with you or was you were at loggerheads with when they died, even if you had nothing to do with them dying,
or someone you sent,
there might be just that vendetta still might exist. So the whole anonymity thing came into it. Yeah,
I like my one better.
Okay,
stick it on a mask so you can run amok.
Yeah, you're just into your orgies. We know what you're like. Okay, massive bonfires were lit. People engaged in games, feasting and telling of stories, as I said. And they partied, which is, as you alluded to, they fucking let loose. And it was the final feast because harvest had finished.
Yeah.
It was the final feast before a long, hard winter where they wouldn't be out much. They wouldn't be working much.
No, yeah.
You know, they would just survive until the next, till the turn of the year.
Yeah, so I love that. Now, it's also said that Samhain likely predates even the Celts. If you go back to the Mound of the Hostages at Tara, that's a stone burial mound, for want of a better description. It predates the Celts by about 3,000 years.
But wasn't that the Gaels?
Yeah.
The Gaelic.
Would have been, so it would have been Gaelic. But anyway, the sun's rays illuminate the inner chamber of the
Mound of Hostages as well. So they all had
Halloween.
This astronomical knowledge.
Yeah, well, they were sun worshippers. So, they would have been very much... And but they would have understood the movement of the sun.
Yeah. And planets. All cultures around the world did.
Yeah.
Because they were all agrarian cultures, you know, and they needed to know and be able to plot and track and anticipate where the sun was going to be and at what stage.
And when to plant and when to sow.
When to plant, when to sow, when to reap.
Yeah.
So it was all kind of knowledge that was essential.
Yeah.
It was essential to society. It was
and they deified it because it was so key and pivotal.
And they relied on it so much so they found some sort of worship in it.
Yeah. And they built their burial mounds to, kind of capture the sun's rays on pivotal days. So you have Newgrange on, is it the winter solstice, Newgrange?
Yes.
Yeah. And then on the equinox, then on Samhain, the 31st of October or thereabouts, the Mound of Hostages is lit up at sunrise. So that's pretty cool.
When I was reading up on it, the whole Samhain festival, it seemed like, I mean, I know it went on for a certain amount of days, but it seemed to have relevance on, say, the 31st of October for us now. For Halloween.
That is the actual equinox day,
And then it jumped to, at some stage, to November 1st and then November 2nd, and then it jumped back. And a lot of it seems to have, it's not that they were changing their dates. It's not even that the sun was, it's the influence of outside entities and religions and all that kind of thing.
Right.
Seems to have juggled it around a little bit and it's settled down afterwards, which I will get into in a little while. And I will actually get into it because it's really fucking interesting. And it actually annoyed me a bit.
Now you were talking about bonfires there. I'm just conscious actually for our international listeners. I don't know whether bonfires are a thing outside of Ireland.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I know...
I'm going to get into that as well.
I know the UK have them for kind of Guy Fawkes night and stuff, but I don't think America do the whole bonfire thing, do they? Maybe they do. I don't know. Just for anyone listening who doesn't know what a bonfire is, it's just a massive, massive pile of...
Yeah.
Now, if you go north, up to the north of this country, around the 12th of July, I mean, you see ridiculously large bonfires. These things are skyscrapers made of pallets.
Yeah.
We don't go that big on Halloween. But it's basically a chance, and it's ridiculous now when you think about it. It's for households to get rid of old junk that they don't want. Anything that will burn is burned.
There was so much more importance to it. There was so much more relevance to it when it was done from a pagan point of view.
Yeah.
Than there is to just burn shit.
Yeah.
Let's go out and collect shit and rob
cars and drive cars.
Not even cars, but rob someone else's bonfire.
Oh yeah.
To stack your own, you know,
neighbors,
that kind of shit. So it's and I'm not even saying recently, but over hundreds of years and thousands of years, it's been lost.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But having said that, I still do love a bonfire on Halloween. And it do, like, even just gathering around the bonfire. Now, it's kind of tough now because it's always full of drunk teenagers, let's be honest. But even when we were teenagers at the time, there was something spiritual about standing around a bonfire on Halloween night. And it was communal, it was community. Like the whole
I think that's probably what you're feeling. Yeah. No, I'm big into
and
spirituality.
I love that
kind of
you know, kind of sense of community and stuff. As I said, it's a bit lost now. I wouldn't bring me kids to bonfires around here because it's just invariably going to be full of drunk teenagers.
Well, when you say around here, it's
around Dublin in general, really.
Yeah, it's not locally around here. It's a lot of places, and a lot of people listening to this might go, "Yeah, you know what? I'm the fucking same."
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I think
cars getting driven onto them and stuff.
It's a problem everywhere.
Yeah, I know it is definitely. Yeah.
And it's a big night for the emergency services.
Oh yeah,
Jesus
massive,
Christ.
and they come under barrage of attack and everything.
We'll get on to the vandalism aspect of it later on.
But that goes right back. I mean, as I was saying, the revelry and the wearing the mask so you could run amok. Like, there's an undercurrent of vandalism right through Samhain from its roots right up to the present day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, you were talking about the man hostages at Tara.
Yeah.
Do you know the Hill Award?
I've heard of the Hill Award in relation to bonfires,
or Tlachtka, and that's Tlachttga.
Okay.
Is in County Meath, and it's 12 miles from the Hill of Tara. Tlachtka dates back to 200 CE. See, I didn't say BC or AD.
CE is AD.
It's Common Era, yeah.
Yeah, so it's
200 CE.
It's not BCE.
No.
Oh, CE. So
Yeah.
So the year 200. Sorry.
Yeah, I just didn't secularize the whole fucking thing.
Yeah. See, you're confusing me now.
Yeah, okay. And it was here at Tlachtka, the Hill Award, where the Great Fire Festival on the night of November the 1st was lit.
Okay.
The festival went on for several days, as we said, and it seems to have jumped around its point of emphasis over those couple of days.
Like Samhain itself is, they say, 3 days before Ihe Sauna, which is, Halloween as we know it now. So you had 3 days before and 3 days after, and Ihe Sauna, so 7 days.
Yeah, so it was a festival thing.
And I think different days would have had different types of festivities. So maybe that's where the November thing for the bonfire, that's bonfire night in the UK. Now I know that's for Guy Fawkes, but it seems a bit coincidental that it falls around that time.
I don't know. It just could be a coincidence, man. It could be. It's some guy went to blow up the Houses of Parliament, and we can even get into that, and I don't actually fucking believe it was him. I think he was fingered for it.
Right, okay, I didn't know that actually. That's interesting.
And it was on that date. So,
it though?
There's a finite amount of dates in the year that stuff can happen on,
it?
and some of them are going to cross over.
It just seems a little bit on the nose though, bonfires.
No, it's like someone saying...
I know, like he blew up the House of Parliament or tried to... It's not really a bonfire, it's more of an explosion.
No, my point is the coincidence of dates. It's like saying, your birthday is on the 18th. Jesus, mine is on the 16th. What the fuck are you getting excited about? There are a finite amount of dates, and there are 7.5 billion people in the world.
No, but I'm saying there's...
Okay, so we're way off topic here. But let's get back to Tlachtka, or the Hill Award, being 12 miles from the Hill of Tara, and it dates back to 200 CE and was lit on the night of November the 1st. The festival went on for several days and celebrated Lu, which you talked about earlier, the Celtic god. And I read of him as the god of prophecy, reincarnation, healing, and revenge.
And the sun.
But fucking revenge. They all have this.
Revenge.
It's like they all sat around the table and said, oh no, fuck man, I want to be healing, and I want to be the sun, and I want to be reincarnation, because things start to grow again and all that kind of thing. And someone says, yeah, okay, I'll revenge. No, fuck you, man. I want revenge as well. Like, it's so tenuous what was associated with them. Jesus Christ.
But we covered that in the Celts one as well, like, you know,
we did.
In our Celts podcast.
Go back and listen to that. It was fantastic. If you haven't heard it. And if you have, go back and listen anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, Tlachtaga got its name from the daughter of a druid, Mog Ruth. That's Ruith. And he was a big dog in the druid circles of Munster.
Right.
And she died at the Hill of Ward, giving birth to triplets, apparently.
Okay.
And I don't know those triplets' names, but I'm sure they have some sort of significance in some sort of legend. Tlachta, which means earthly spear, was an Irish goddess, and it's with her that the origins of Halloween might rest.
Okay.
I know you said you've got your own origins, and as we were just alluding to, loads of people, and I'm sure the people in the north of the country didn't know that the people in the south of the country existed and all that kind of shit, and it was all a very community-based thing and tribal-based thing, but they'll all derive their own histories, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, or they'll all attribute the same festivals to different gods, different legends. Yeah. But all similar in, you know,
The Hill of Ward is perfectly visible from the Hill of Tara, and the fire lit on the night of Samhain at Ward was a prelude to the Samhain Festival at Tara, which took place, I think it was the night after. So it was kind of a...
It was a beacon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know, the beacons are being lit.
Yeah.
That kind of crack. Yeah, that's
like
what
the church bells that rang on a Sunday for, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
And that might be where it came from. Actually, no, you know what? You can't say that because the Christians come in and they fucking take everything.
We're going to get there.
What the fucking Christians want.
The fucking Christians get.
Yeah.
Actually, no, what the Christians fucking want, the Christians fucking take would be...
Well, that's true, yeah.
Would be more apt, yeah. Apologies to any Christian listeners.
Yeah, but your religion is bunk. Interestingly, fires in people's homes when it was coming up to the main communal bonfire night were let die, and they were cleaned out, reset and relit anew from the massive community bonfire to mark the beginning of winter and to get protection.
Class.
Isn't that fucking
I really like that.
Yeah, so do I read that and I was like,
I just love that in community. I do. I just love that kind of promotes kind of community, and that's lovely actually. That's
yeah. I was all about, there's a lot of community stuff that and pagan stuff that I could, if I was the king of the world, I'd be saying, do this, do this, do this, do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you don't do that, there's no on pain of death. It's just you're a fucking jerk.
Not sure we can bring back communal fires though. Going to get rid of them though.
Yeah, well, all kind of fires, yeah. There's the whole environmental shit.
Yeah.
But if we didn't fuck up the environment with other stuff, we'd be able to light our fires.
That's true.
Yeah, so there you go.
True, yeah. Do a bit of fire lighting in here today, it's freezing.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? With the inevitable arrival of Christianity, the festival was incorporated into the Christian calendar as a time to remember the lost souls, and as such, Samhain retained its relevance.
Yeah, and it became All Hallows Eve, isn't it?
Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah. And this is the bit that I'll get to without offering an opinion, hopefully.
No, you won't.
The customs that didn't fit into Christianity's framework survived as Halloween theatrics.
Right, okay.
No comment.
Actually, no, do comment. I want you to actually elaborate on that.
Fuck that shit.
So what you mean is the Halloween games, the dressing up,
the sharing of stories, the homage to your gods to ask for protection, the wearing of masks to hide yourself from an evil spirit, let's say, that's crossed over because from the dead to the living.
But they were all kept, but they just weren't kept by the Christians.
They were kept as Halloween theatrics.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's the whole. It's not that they had.
They reduced an entire belief system to. They undermined it by calling it theatrics, basically.
Yeah. It's games and it's celebration and it's fun and there's nothing really to be taken from.
Yeah,
you know, and that's what annoyed me.
And that's kind of where I started with the podcast, saying that I loved Halloween for that reason. That it doesn't have a religious connotation.
Yeah.
Now I'm in two minds. It does.
It has a heavy religious connotation to it.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
On May 13th, 1609 CE, Pope Boniface And I don't know if I'm pronouncing his
It
fucking
is
name.
Boniface,
Is it?
yeah.
Boniface. Pope Boniface IV dedicated the Pantheon in Rome, establishing the Catholic feast of All Martyrs' Day.
Okay, I hadn't heard of that one before.
May 13th, 1609. All you need to remember is May 13th.
Was it a Friday?
I wouldn't say so. Maybe, I don't know. Pope Gregory III later expanded the festival to include All Saints as well as All Martyrs.
Okay.
And moved it from May 13th to November 1st.
Right, All Saints Day.
Yeah. By the 9th century, Christianity had supplanted many older Celtic rites.
Yeah. Yeah.
In 1000 CE, the church made November the 2nd All Souls Day in what was widely believed to be the church's efforts to replace the Celtic Festival of the Dead with a church-sanctioned celebration.
Yeah.
I just get angrier and angrier as I read it. I was like, fuck you, man.
Jumping all over our culture.
Yeah. All Saints Day.
Erasing our culture, sorry.
All Saints Day. It was erasure of culture, yeah. All Saints Day on November the 1st, which was Samhain's original date,
right,
was also called All Hallows Day.
Yeah.
And All Hallows comes from, and I can't remember how to pronounce it, but a Middle English word which was All Hallow something. I can't remember. But it translated into All Saints Day.
All Hallowed Souls.
Or something like that. Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah. So All Hallows made Samhain, which was the day before, All Hallows Eve. And eventually that became Halloween.
Yeah.
Cool and infuriating.
Yeah. But no, look, I take immense, massive pride in the fact that Ireland gave the world like the best festival. It is the best. It's non-religious. It's totally inclusive. It's for everybody, and we gave that to the world, and that makes me really, really proud.
Yeah,
it really does. Yeah. Forget about the Christian attempt.
That's what makes me prouder.
Yeah, they attempted to fucking stamp it out,
supplant
and get rid of it.
A pagan festival, and it didn't happen. Yeah. And it makes me as proud as it did when we were talking about Grace O'Malley. Yeah. The way history tried to erase her, and
we're still talking about her.
Culture.
Yeah.
Kept her alive.
Yeah, and that's very.
And history couldn't. History is nothing without folk culture.
No, exactly.
Yeah. So if you haven't heard of the Grace O'Malley episode that we did,
definitely go back to that. This is turning into an ad for other episodes.
I think every episode we do is a fucking ad for everything else.
Yeah, no, because it all ties together. Like it does.
It's like
we have a train of thought.
It's like those poxy programs, the infomercials that you see on film 4 before the program start.
Yeah.
Anyway, from the time Puritan colonists arrived in the US, which was the 16th century, I think.
17th century, 1600s, wasn't it?
Well, it was the earliest ones were 16 something, so it was 15 something, so it was 16th century. Yeah, okay, middle of the 1500s, I think it was.
Right, okay.
From the moment the Puritan colonists arrived, the Celtic tradition came with them, but they were mainly celebrated in colonies, the lower colonies, which were confined to the East Coast.
Yeah.
Okay. You know the New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North and South Carolina, and Georgia. It wasn't New England.
So they didn't get to New England, yeah.
Well, all of America was Native American.
Yeah.
And it wasn't New England, and it wasn't New Orleans, and it wasn't, all those places that have their names tied into the French or the English or anything like that. Yeah. All predates that. So it was all Native American. And it was, who's the guy who played Hugh Glass in The Revenant that you haven't seen that I keep talking about? What was his name?
Leonardo
DiCaprio. So the story of him being the frontiersman that went out and they hunted fucking pelts and they fought the Native Americans. That was then. That's when we're talking about, okay?
Right, okay.
So it was all confined to the East Coast. In the middle of the 19th century, immigrants fleeing the famine arrived in America. Halloween, having replaced Samhain at this point, fucking exploded in celebration.
Yeah, and it's absolutely huge up in New England. Now, New England is kind of Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, Connecticut, and Maine. You know, that's all kind of New England. Now, I was there in September 2000. It was mid-September, so you're talking like a bit over a month away from Halloween, yeah? Halloween was just everywhere.
Yeah.
It's
a huge market. It's a $1 billion market in the US now.
Massive thing. And then we went up to Salem, where the witch trials were.
Yeah.
And we done the whole tour there where they used to hide the witches in the attic and stuff, and all these hidden compartments in the attic walls and stuff where they used to hide the witches and stuff. But yeah, everything was Halloween. They had like a hearse tour where you could actually go around all the haunted sites in Salem in a hearse, which we didn't do. But yeah, there was pumpkins everywhere. Like, I mean, literally, like there's a green area in the middle of town, like, and it was just like a pumpkin patch. There was hundreds of pumpkins on it, all carved, and that was so cool. It was like, yeah.
Do you know why they carved the pumpkins? Jack-o'-lanterns.
I don't, but you're going to tell me.
We're going to get into that later. That's fantastic.
Can't wait
Love that one.
I do actually have an idea.
As you were talking, I'm thinking about the witch trials that you mentioned. That was 1642, I think it was. So it's that far back. So we're in and around
that time,
within 50 to 100 years of what we're talking about.
Okay.
And one of the final witches born was a woman who was speaking in tongues. Do you remember we were talking about that? And she was Irish. She was speaking Irish.
Speaking Irish, yeah. Bastards.
Yeah, and that's a thing I remember from that, and I fucking hate it. And it was in a podcast that I'm not telling you about, so you have to go and listen to that. Anyway,
that was in.
It was in, I can't remember either.
One of the very early ones.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
Episodes, yeah.
Folk customs and beliefs merged with the existing cultural traditions when the Irish got to the US in the mid 1800s.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
so
so all the Puritan traditions that would have come with them way back when that were still celebrated, they all just kind of merged together. They were just one big concoction.
And that gives us the Halloween that we have today, pretty much.
Exactly. Over time, the holiday became a time for children to dress up as the very thing their ancestors had once feared. So where they used to wear half animal heads or whatever from whatever kill they made to feed their family, to disguise themselves from evil spirits crossing over into the land of the living.
Now they were dressing up as the evil
spirits.
They
were dressing up as the evil spirits.
And the witches who are being bored at the stake, like,
Yeah.
Cool.
The whole trick or treat helped the Halloween party, which
I always remember helped the Halloween party.
I got it.
That was ours. We were kids. That's what we said when we knocked on the door.
Yeah, I said that as well. Yeah,
this trick or treat is very much an Americanism, isn't it?
Yeah. Trick or treat is very much. But help the Halloween party.
Yeah, it's really beggy, isn't it?
It's real beggy, yeah. And even when I was much younger than I am now, and I'd think back to it, I'd be going, what the fuck was I saying, man? Jesus Christ.
That was my first time canvassing for a party, though.
The whole trick or treat, help the Halloween party thing originated its guest in the 16th century, back when the Puritans were doing their thing and coming over, and it was confined mainly to the East Coast. You know? Okay.
I can't imagine Puritans celebrating something like Halloween, though.
Well, they were people that were just escaping the harsh laws of Europe and England, and they just went to set up a new life. Yeah,
I know, but Puritans, they were very, very, very like Christian religion, weren't they? That's what Puritan is, isn't it?
Yeah, but
they'd be like modern day Jehovah's Witnesses.
They would have had some form of celebration, and they don't know what it was. But I mean, they didn't walk around 24 hours a day flagellating themselves.
No, I know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm saying.
Okay.
I just wouldn't have...
I think this might be what you're saying. It was customary in England for the poor people to go begging on All Souls Day.
Right, okay.
It was also customary in England to give them cakes with crosses on the top.
Hot cross buns,
called soul cakes, in exchange for prayers for the one who gifted the cake.
Okay.
So poor people would receive this from people who weren't as poor.
Right.
And the deal would be you pray for them in return. Okay. So maybe that's what was...
So that's the origin of kind of trick-or-treating.
But maybe that's the inverted commas festivals or culture thing they brought with them that got mixed up with the Irish in the 19th century.
Yeah. And if you think about a trick or treat, if you don't get a nice cake, you're not going to have a nice prayer for them, are you? Yeah.
Or
More of
if
a
you
course.
have, if you've got
you'd
nothing.
course them like.
So maybe there was a fear aspect to it as well, you know? And being Puritans and extremely religious and devout, they would have feared that.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely, yeah. So there you go. Trick or treat.
So, yeah, soul cakes, wow. By the 1920s and 30s, and I do realise I'm skipping on really far.
No, you're not.
By the 1920s and 30s, Halloween had become a secular but a community-wide celebration.
Yeah, and you're referring, and you're still talking about the US here, are you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, when you're talking about Halloween, you were talking about the
global.
US. Yeah, but you're talking about the US because that's the $1 billion market.
Yeah.
And all the things that you see that you buy in pop-up shops now to stick in your garden or stick in your window.
It's all very much Americanized.
Yeah, you know. So that's kind of where...
It's kind of gone full circle when you think about it. Like it originated here, spread to the States, ballooned, exploded in the States, morphed, changed. And then what they've morphed and changed it into is now exported to the rest of the world.
It's now a commodity.
Yeah.
And they just export it everywhere else. Yeah.
Yes.
In the US, vandalism became widespread and it had been an undercurrent to the holiday for decades.
Yeah.
In 1879, an engineer of a passenger train, and I got these facts and had to stick them in because it was like, what the fuck, man? In 1879, an engineer of a passenger train saw a body lying on the track ahead of him. Pulling the brake with all his might, he stopped the train before it hit the body. The body turned out to be a dummy. And about 200 kids laughed their arses off because the prank worked so well. But that's an emergency stop on a passenger train. That's people getting fucked up the carriage.
Yeah.
Jesus, that's fucking mental. In Scotland, kids would pull up cabbage stalks. So everything's been harvested. Right. And all that's left is the root and stalk.
Yeah.
So kids would pull up the cabbage stalks, get it smouldering, and place it at the front door of someone's house who was at work for the day.
Right,
and by the time they came home, the house would be full of the stink of burnt cabbage. Oh, that was the practical joke. Livestock were placed on roofs of farms.
That's not funny.
No, it's not at all.
I shouldn't laugh. I just think of a goat on a roof.
This is funny.
Where have I seen a goat on a roof? What was that in?
A million ways down in the west.
Was it?
There's a sheep. There's a guy Seth MacFarlane has a sheep farm, and it's massive. And there's one sheep is always on the fucking roof.
It might be that, yeah.
It's hilarious. Outhouse tipping was a favourite.
Sorry.
Whether the outhouse was occupied or not.
Oh Lord.
Gates closing off fields were nicked, so the animals could escape and wander freely. That's just fucking bad, man. I mean, there's bad shit, and then there's bad shit.
Yeah, we used to get up to shit like that as well.
I never,
Did you not?
I never stole a gate from a farmer's field that was keeping
down the
cows, sheep, goats, whatever penned in.
Down the country, things like that was commonplace.
That's not mischievous. That's malicious.
Yeah,
you know?
Maybe.
So I never.
No, I don't mean that one in particular. I mean getting up to mischief.
Yeah, you're just admitting shit now, man. I don't
think we've ever done a gate. What I'm saying is the mischief.
Yeah,
you know?
Mischief was different
Halloween.
to vandalism. Was different to malicious behaviour.
Well.
It was great. It was very great. But fuck that shit. I don't agree with that.
When I say mischief, I may mean vandalism.
Back in the US, as pranking moved into cities.
Pranks, that's the word I'm looking for.
It got worse. Windows were broken. Manhole covers were stolen. So the Model T4 that you're driving down the road that badly illuminates anyway, and there's fuck all street lights that illuminate for it. Yeah,
hits a manhole.
Rob a manhole. Hits a manhole without a cover. Yeah, fuck that shit. That's mad.
Lovely.
Kids, boys mainly, ran through the streets throwing flour on people.
Yeah, it's stuff like that.
Yeah,
I've got into.
In 1 year, in Kansas City in 1918, the conductor of a streetcar, one Tracy Koppel, was hospitalized with serious internal injuries, life-threatening internal injuries, after 9 boys waxed the tracks on a steep hill causing the streetcar to careen down the road and collide with parked vehicles. And she was caught in the wreckage at the back of the thing.
Yeah, not so clever.
Yeah, she was trapped in wreckage at the back of the car. Kansas City law made the parents of the boys responsible for the actions.
And that's the way it should be.
But the parents of the boys responsible for the boys' actions.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's as it should be.
100%.
We could do with that now.
Incidentally, all 9 boys were held by the cops without bond, so they can get out. The streetcar company also announced it would be prosecuting the boys. Fuck them.
Good.
Yeah. Back in 1902, the Cook Herald newspaper, a publication, the Cook Herald newspaper, advised its readers to load their muskets with rock salt and rock salt the shit out of anybody they found on their premises after business hours.
There was a farmer used to live up where Ravenswood is now. We were brought up in Hartstown, you know.
Yeah.
And that was all. Like, from the end of our road was farm fields as far as Navan nearly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We used to go up. We'd be doing that. And we'd be climbing ditches and building tree houses or whatever. But there was a grumpy old fucking farmer, and he used to rock salt us with a shotgun. Yeah, fucker. That shit stings.
That metal? Yeah, fucking.
Like, can you imagine doing that to a child nowadays?
Yeah.
You'd be locked up.
Well, yeah. You'd be sued into oblivion.
Yeah.
In 1907, some pranksters in Tucson, Arizona, tied a wire across a path to trip pedestrians as they were passing by. One man who tripped fell on a snot. The boys laughed. He got straight back up, pulled his revolver, and shot one of the jokers dead.
Jesus fuck Christ.
1907.
Yeah.
So when I read that, I was like, fuck that. But the whole, when did America lose its way and just start shooting people for fucking anything? They fucking...
Oh yeah, I mean, look at the Wild West.
1907. Yeah.
Look at the Wild West. I mean, life was cheap then.
Never changed. Yeah,
time, you know.
And life hasn't changed.
If the cowboy movies are to be believed, I mean, I don't know, was it as lawless as all that? I don't know.
I read an article, which has nothing to do with this, but I read an article one day that the guns were so unreliable.
Yeah, you're more likely to do yourself an injury than someone else.
Such bad shots that were, I'll fucking see you at high noon, and you go out, there was a 50-50 chance that the gun would explode
in your own hand, yeah.
And there was a 75% chance that he'd miss you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and probably hit some poor fucker 10 yards behind you or something like that, or off to the left.
That's why you see them all clearing out of the way when these duels are happening. Everyone's just indoors.
Yeah, which is why Sam Colt made such a famous gun, because it was actually a more reliable weapon.
And it was accurate.
Yeah. But that's way back when. Anyway,
Colt 45.
By the time the Great Depression in 1933 rolled around, vandalism and destruction of property was at epidemic proportions in the US.
And this is all around Halloween, is it? Or is it just in general?
I think it was at Halloween because they could prank and mischievousness and dress up and
one-upmanship, you know, it would just get worse year on year. And
Oh God, it got worse year on year.
Yeah.
I'm getting there. Kids were encouraged to go house to house and trick or treat at this time to keep them out of the acts of vandalism and law breaking and all that kind of thing. So that's where the trick or treating came from.
Diversion, but it ties back into the puritanical.
Yeah, I was just about to say, and it ties, and that's probably they went back into the history books and they reignited this thing. Yeah. So in the Depression, to avoid the damage, you'd go to one house and you'd get soot on your face for that dress up, for that good. You go to another house and you'd get the horns put on your head or something. Yeah. And you go to the next house and you get the cape or whatever the fuck it was. Yeah. But it was a community effort.
And again, that's
to kind of steer them away from that damage, vandalism, law breaking.
You'd miss that, wouldn't you? That would be so cool, actually, dressing up all the kids for Halloween. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. When I read you go to one house and you'd get soot to blacken your face. I just thought blackface.
Nah, it's not really. That's more kind of,
Yeah, but that's what I thought.
More if you think of Elliot in E.T. when he's dressed up with that goblin.
Yeah, you know, the black bags under the eyes and shit like that. Yeah,
I think it was more that. Yeah.
And the beard, the pirate beard. Yeah. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah. Which we did when we were kids as well.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
You'd walk, you'd get...
And the painted on it.
My dad put his hand up the chimney and got soot out, and he put a beard on you, and you wake up the next day with a greyed skin and a dirty fucking bed sheet.
Pillow,
The pillow. And a roaring red face because the soot had aggravated your skin that much.
Feck, I'm not going to bother you with face paint tonight. I'll just get some soot.
Just soot the kids up, man.
Don't have a fire.
Which is another thing that we don't have these days. Yeah. In World War II, kids took pledges to support the armed forces by not engaging in vandalism.
Good old propaganda. Brainwashing.
Pranking diminished, but it didn't go away. During the 1970s and 1980s, arsonists turned the Detroit night sky orange with the amount of fires set. It peaked in 1984 when you fucking heard it.
Fucking Dublin was the same.
It peaked in 1984 when more than 800 fires were set over a 3-night period. Detroit responded.
Amateurs.
Detroit responded with a dusk till dawn curfew for anybody who was under 18 and unaccompanied.
800 fires throughout the whole city.
Yep.
Try Halloween, try Dublin on Halloween night.
Now.
800 fires in Branch probably.
Now.
No, even in the 80s, I mean, I remember building gigantic bonfires in Darndale.
Yeah.
And I mean huge bonfires.
Yeah, but not fucking...
We moved out Darndale.
Everybody's trash can setting fire in their front garden.
No.
That's the kind of shit I'm talking about.
We would be collecting kind of bonfire wood for months.
Yeah, so do we.
Yeah,
but that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. So they tried to burn the fucking city down.
I know, I suppose that is a bit different.
Detroit also mobilised a city watch. Volunteers ready with garden hoses just in case. So if someone set a fire, extinguish it.
Actually, do you know what really pisses me off about fucking Halloween bonfires now?
What?
Really annoys me. Kids wrecking their own community, right? Invariably, in a lot of kind of built-up areas, the only green space available is a football pitch. And they'll build a big fuck you bonfire in the middle of it.
Yep.
And the lads will turn up on Saturday for a match, and
people in Detroit were wrecking their fucking communities as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No,
absolutely. Like, I mean, as I was saying earlier, like, I used to love standing around the bonfire and that communal kind of thing. But like, when you see them burn fucking football pitches, the only football pitch the community has, and they put a big fuck you bonfire in the centre circle, you know, idiots, absolute idiots.
Yeah, not much changed.
No.
Time and distance don't change it.
Yeah, no, it's still going on. Like, absolutely.
But an estimated 30,000 people in Detroit participated in the City Watch, and there were neighbourhood patrols in 1990.
Oh.
As recently as 1990, this shit was going on. Yeah. Fucking nuts. So, fucking crazy shit.
Yeah.
Just stupid.
I thought that, like, was very much a kind of an Ireland, Dublin fucking thing, to have that, like, fucking carry on. But no, it seems to be actually everywhere, like. And it's really interesting that it goes right back to the fucking pagan origins, where it was a free-for-all. Samhain was a fucking free-for-all. And Halloween pretty much still is a fucking free-for-all.
I think...
Which is weird, isn't it?
I think it fell into kind of... And I don't want to come off like a fucking Puritan or anything like that. But it fell into vandalism and breaking the law and disrupting the community when it lost its meaning. When what we're doing this for lost its meaning. Yeah,
I'm not sure. I think it's part... Like, if you look back to the Celts, and I mean, they were wearing masks.
Yeah, but
to allow
it had
them
meaning.
Anonymity to fucking... Like, to literally run a fucking muck, like...
But it had meaning. Yeah. They were wearing masks for a reason.
Yeah, to have anonymity while they were making a fucking show of themselves. Basically. Wrecking the place.
Yeah. How much would they reckon?
The same thing, like? Okay, okay.
Maybe
they probably
is.
weren't getting into vandalism, but it was a kind of it was hedonistic.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
It was a very hedonistic festival, and it still in many ways is.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange that has carried over, and like, that's not a conscious thing, I wouldn't think. The type of guy that's trying to burn down his city in fucking Detroit is not a guy who's well versed in Celtic mythology and fucking origins, I wouldn't imagine.
No, you know? but that's not my point. My point is, that is actually exactly my point. What he's doing, he has no idea of why it was done. and why he's carrying it on.
Yeah.
That's where it lost its way.
Yeah, and it was trying to
Yeah.
This is what they done last year. Next year we're going to really...
What do we do at this time of year? We fucking wreck shit up.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. Do you know what else really fucking confuses me with American young people as well, right? And this is only something I realised only a few, in the last few years. Like, the other way in football in general here, if you lose, there might be a bit of aggro.
No.
Like, not here, but in the UK and to a lesser extent.
Aggro with who?
For the rival fans and whatever, like...
Really?
Yeah, you get a bit of that League of Ireland. It's nothing compared to what it was in the, in England in the 80s, right? But there is still the odd,
The odd arsehole.
Yeah. But in America, it's when you win. Like, they literally wreck the fucking city when they win the World Series or the fucking Super Bowl. Burning cars over, burning shit. It's fucking mad, like.
That's nuts.
Yeah, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
When you think of England fans, and even them aren't as bad as they used to be, but when they used to go on a fucking rampage when they got knocked out of a tournament, they'd fucking wreck the place, No, fucking American fans, and particularly Boston fans, fucking wreck the place when they win something.
That's nuts.
That is nuts, isn't it?
That's fucking nuts.
It's mad, like. Philadelphia fans are well known for it as well.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know anything about them. You know that Flaming Pumpkin bit? Getting back on track again. We seem to have lost our train of thought loads today.
Yeah.
You know that Flaming Pumpkin bit?
Yeah, the carved pumpkin, the cans. Yeah.
And it came from carving turnips.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen the carved turnips that we're talking about, right? Google has some great images of them. Like we're talking way back in the ancient times, but my fuck are they scary.
And apparently it was the Irish going across, fleeing the famine.
Yeah.
Had no tubers. Are you called tubers?
Tubers.
I don't know what the fucking called.
Or whatever the hell they're called.
Something shit like that, yeah. But they'd no turnips to carve. They'd no turnips to carve.
Yeah, so they carved pumpkins.
They carved the next best thing, which was a pumpkin, which was easier to carve.
Yeah.
And it just became a ubiquitous thing.
You have to clear all the shit out of the middle of a food.
Yeah.
I hate that. That's the part I hate. I love carving the pumpkin, but I hate all that crap.
But you have to do that with a fucking turnip on a smaller scale. Anyway.
Yeah, but that's not
turnips are much better looking.
Oh, they're much scary as
scarier
fuck,
looking than pumpkins.
Yeah, I'm going to throw it up on the Facebook page. I'll get the...
Yeah,
there's one photograph in particular awesome. I'm thinking of.
They're like shrunken heads.
Yeah, literally like shrunken heads.
Great looking. But anyway, that story, do you know where that came from?
No.
Have you ever heard the legend of Stingy Jack?
No.
And it may go that I call him Stinky Jack as we go in because I kept tripping on it the other day.
No,
but Stingy Jack. Stingy Jack was a manipulative schemer. A bit like Mr. Wimpy. Remember Mr. Wimpy and Popeye?
Yeah.
You buy me a burger today, I'd gladly pay you next Tuesday. I think he was that kind of guy.
Right, come here. Are we in America now? Or
nope. We're going back to find out the origins of jack-o'-lanterns.
Right, okay. So we're in Ireland.
So we know that jack-o'-lanterns were predated by carved turnips.
Yeah. But that's here.
This is why
it's
done.
Yeah.
Or it was done. Right. Stingy Jack, as I said, was a manipulative schemer. So he was always trying to garner what he could in alcohol, all that kind of thing. He was a heavy drinker. Yeah, and he was Irish. Right, and it's important to remember that he was Irish.
Right.
Word of the levels of his stinginess reached the devil, and the devil made plans to go from hell to get Stingy Jack, and drag him back to hell because he wasn't a worthwhile person.
Right.
Okay. The devil posed as a dead body, and when Stingy Jack coming home from the pub came across the body, and I don't know whether he tried to rob it or he went through its pockets or anything like that, but when he came across the body, the devil jumped up, and it was a whole "it's time for you to come to hell with me" moment. Stingy Jack asked for a final drink before he went to hell with the devil, and the devil duly obliged.
Okay.
They went to the local tavern and they drank the place dry. Okay, one led to another, it just started, they drank the place dry.
So you got the devil drunk.
Yeah, so, well, how drunk is drunk when you're talking about Stingy Jack or the devil, you know? So they drank the place dry and it was time to settle up the tab, and Stingy Jack, true to his name, said, "I've got no money." The devil, being the devil, didn't carry money. So Stingy Jack suggested that the devil turn himself into a silver coin that would cover the bar tab. and pay it off. To which the devil went, yeah, okay, that seems like a good idea, or something to that effect. Turned himself into a silver coin to pay the bar, and Stingy Jack took him and shoved him in his pocket with a crucifix so he couldn't change back into the devil. And he refused to let him out until the devil promised not to take Stingy Jack to hell for a year. Okay?
For a year?
For a year.
That's the devil hell.
Yeah, I mean, talk about fucking
for a year,
having really a really low aim.
Yeah, low bar, like.
Yeah, fucking hell. So he said, I won't take it to hell for a year. So Stingy Jack took him out of his pocket, put him down, he turned back into the devil, and off he went. And Stingy Jack still went around doing what he did for the next year. The next year came along, and the devil came back and said, it's time, a year's up to the very minute. And Stingy Jack said,
let's go for a drink.
Will you, well, that's not going to work again. But he said, will you get me an apple out of the tree up there? I can't reach them and I want something to eat on the way back to hell because it's a long road. And the devil said, yeah, this is where it gets tenuous. And the devil said, yeah. So the devil climbed the tree to get Stingy Jack his apple. And swift as you like, Stingy Jack, being the alcoholic he was, carved crucifixes into the tree. So the devil was stuck in the branches. And he wouldn't let him down until he swore, and I don't know why he didn't do this the first time around, until he swore he wouldn't take him to hell. Stingy Jack, being Stingy Jack, went around living the way he lived and eventually died, because you can trick the devil but you can't trick death.
Yeah.
Okay? So he died and he went up and he ended up in front of St. Peter at the pearly gates. Not being a nice human being, St. Peter said fuck off and wouldn't let him into heaven and sent him to hell. When he got to hell, eventually, the devil recognized him. And because he'd been so deceitful, which I would have thought would have been a tick in the right box, but because he'd been so deceitful and deceived the devil so easily, the devil pushed him back to earth.
Didn't want him.
And gave him a hot coal to carry for eternity.
As Bart Simpson used to say, heaven doesn't want me and hell's afraid I'll take over.
Yeah. So he was to wander earth forever and he was to carry this hot coal and that was his punishment. Okay? So to avoid himself having to carry his hot coal, he got a turnip and he carved it and he put the hot coal inside it so he could carry the turnip instead of hands on the hot coal.
Cool.
Kids and families carved turnip heads and put them in their windows lit so it would keep Stingy Jack away from their homes. And so that's where Jack-o'-lantern comes from. It was him wandering the dark roads and nights forever and ever, carrying his hot coal from hell. Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
Isn't that fucking nuts? And isn't that really tenuous?
It is really tenuous, but it's a good
and
story.
it was like somebody told it, and after he told it,
that was better than some of the ghost stories I came across looking to do some research for this, and in the end we abandoned that idea completely because they're all shite. They're
all muck, and we'd end up sounding like fucking Derek Accorda or some shit. Somebody's most haunted.
Oh, stop. Yeah, not into that stuff. Yeah. That's this podcast.
Do you ever see South Park doing that most haunted, their version of the most haunted program? Man,
let's go look at that.
YouTube it. I'm not even going to tell you anything about it. It's so funny as shit.
That's it now. We have to do quantum physics now, because when in our very first intro for the very first podcast, we said we'd cover everything from quantum physics to South Park. And Della's just mentioned South Park.
Yeah,
so
I'm
we
always
have
mentioning
to do
South Park.
quantum
I'm
physics.
always mentioning South Park, but I've re-recorded
Someday.
the intro to our podcast so we can set Halloween music to it this week. So I didn't say that, which means I don't have to do quantum
it was in our blurb intro. Not
I know.
It's on our blurb.
I know.
But listen, we won't be touching quantum physics till we're qualified quantum physicists, I think.
Yeah, fuck that shit. And we won't get quantum physics qualified if we keep talking about fucking astrology. Yeah. Fuck that, man. So, yeah, there we are.
Happy Halloween.
Happy
Halloween.
Halloween
Party.
Fuck that. Trick or treat.